Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to At the Controls, TWiT's new game show. This is our beta show point 4. I'm Glenn Rubenstein.
I'm Brian Brushwood, and I got to admit, you almost sounded like you were going to start a rap because it started right on that beat, and you're like, hey, everyone, what's going on?
This actually was a rap song. This was a song in my old band, Headboard, back in the day. And I was like, this has a very 8-bit sound to it, so I'm totally just going to use this for our theme music for the time being.
Oh, that's awesome. That's in fact, actually, you know what? I didn't plan to do this. There was a music video that just came out that I tweeted out earlier. I'm going to have to find my own Twitter here. That's all video game imagery. The song's great, but it's all, you could tell there's probably like 30 to 40 different video games from everything from 8-bit to Atari to, you know, like you recognize Katamari Damacy in there. I'm waiting on chat room to find the link.
Did you look down on the show notes and see what we've got for later in the show?
Did you already put it in there?
I think I put it in there.
Totally missed it. That is awesome.
Yeah, last thing of the show. We're closing the show with that.
Good. All right, well, good. Well, we'll talk about it then. We'll have a face-off and see who can recognize most of the references in there.
Yeah, no, I was very impressed with that. Very impressed with that. And I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more views. So hopefully this will up its view count quite a bit. Anyhow, let's talk about video games and what's going on this week. Top story is that the Microsoft E3 badge hint, they put out their badge for the E3 press conference, and essentially it's got sort of like that almost, you know, magnetic poetry sort of style to it, where it's got a bunch of different stickers that have hints such as Lara Croft, GLaDOS, Luke Skywalker, Batman, Marcus Phoenix, Master Chief, Cortana, and people are trying to read into this and figure out, okay, what does Microsoft have planned for E3? And essentially, people are excited, of course, about, you know, new Star Wars game, new Halo game, the Tomb Raider reboot that's coming out, and perhaps something with Portal. So there's a lot of speculation about what Microsoft has planned. People, you know, I have to say, kind of have, I would think, lowered expectations for Microsoft at E3, just because the conventional wisdom is that Nintendo has a new system they're going to be showing at the show, Project Cafe, the code name. Sony has the next generation PlayStation Portable, and with Microsoft, I don't know, Brian, I mean, what do you think that they've got up their sleeve?
I don't know. My guess is that we're going to see a lot of new titles for Kinect. Kinect was obviously a huge retail smash just a few months ago for December for holiday sales. But I mean, I guess as far as hardware, I don't know that we're going to see anything unless, I mean, the only thing I can imagine is some kind of surprise hardware announcement about a new generation, but it just seems like all of that would be way too far off, and we would have already heard something right now. It seems like they just finished their investment in Kinect, and now is the time where they try to make all their money by getting everyone to buy software for it. But even then, I mean, I played my Kinect, I don't know, for the first few weeks after Christmas, but I haven't done anything with it. Have you?
No, not really. You know, it was fun, and it was a bit of a novelty, but I have to say that it did not have the staying power in my household that something like the Nintendo Wii had, which had a similar sort of gimmick to it, but I think it was much longer lasting and better implemented across the board. Although, to be honest with the Wii, I would say probably 50% of playtime I've spent on the Wii has been on Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort, just because they're very good replayable titles. With the Kinect, I feel like it's fun, but I don't feel really motivated to keep coming back to it again and again and keep playing it.
Well, the difference is, and I think you're right, whenever really successful consoles launch, it seems like they always have a very successful software property attached to it. Like, think about how many people got the original NES. They fully 50% of all the games anyone played. I knew people who had the NES who never bought anything, but they just played Super
Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yeah. So that was just their Mario Brothers machine.
Or what came packed with the robot? If you got the robot package on the 8-bit NES, what was that? Was it?
It was some.
What was the game? I want to say like Gyrex. It was something like that. It was
some kind of dropping, running, side-scrolling thing.
They had the robot that dropped the shapes.
Gyromites?
That does sound familiar. Gyromite. Yeah. That was crazy. I remember nobody I knew had that bundle with the robot for the Nintendo. Everyone had the light gun bundle, you know, or the base one, but the robot one was very elusive You know, as it was like people be like, "Oh, I know a kid that has that."
There it is, Gyromite right there.
Yeah, that was crazy. But it was crazy that the robot actually, turned and dropped those. I feel like that robot does not get enough mention in retro Nintendo pieces.
Well, and the problem is, I don't know how much of the robot's actions were smoke and mirrors. I don't know if he was actually visually looking at the screen at all, or rather just interpreting some kind of flashing signal, or if he was even. I guess he was probably attached to the console, so he probably. I mean, I wonder how much of that was just a show.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like an odd gimmick at the time, but then again, if you look at how the actual robot looked, I mean, those sort of robots were very big in the 1980s, similar to the robot in Rocky IV, which is just my point of reference.
Dude, the Rocky IV, I wanted the Omnibot, or the Omnibot 2000 was the badass one with the cassette player in its chest. You could say, you could have it wake you up and be like, I would, if I was fantasized, I'm like, and I'll read into it, and I'll say, like in a robot voice, I'll say, Brian, it's time to get up. And then it'll wake me up. It'll be amazing. Pet robot.
Oh man!
So here's footage of ROB actually playing, and again, I mean, he's hooked up, and he's actually moving his robot hands left and right. I don't know. This seems like so much smoke and mirrors. It's hard for me to believe.
Interesting. Forkless in the chat room says that the story goes that Nintendo had to come up with a robot to get retailers to carry the NES, which wouldn't surprise me. Sort of make it more of a toy.
That's amazing.
And I've recommended this before on one of our beta shows, but if you're interested at all in the early history of Nintendo, get a book that you can find in paperback for very cheap called Game Over, and written by David Sheff. It's very, very good. Got a great history of Nintendo coming to the U.S. market in the early days of marketing the NES system, how everything happened with the brouhaha they got into legally with Donkey Kong, the story of Tetris. It's a fantastic, fantastic book. And the paperback edition is Game Over, press start to continue. You can find it on Amazon for very cheap. I highly recommend that if you're an old school Nintendo fan. Excellent book.
Cool.
But yeah, speculating to Microsoft at E3, the one thing that I think is definitely going to be there that hasn't shipped yet is the Star Wars game using the Kinect. I would bet that's going to be
where you actually have a lightsaber around and stuff.
I think that's a safe money bet.
I want it to be good. I always want games to be good.
Of course.
But it just, I don't know. I'm highly skeptical on
Sometimes they're Super Bombad Racing or Star Wars Masters of the Terrascasi, the fighting game.
Oh my gosh, I played Star Wars
of course
Masters of the Terrascasi. In fact, I think that was the first time I ever went to E3 that was demoed on the showroom floor. That's amazing.
When I was working at GameSpot, that was a big exclusive preview that I got for us with Star Wars Masters of the Terrascasi. Because on paper, it sounded like the awesomest game ever, a Star Wars fighting game.
It's Street Fighter 2, but with all your favorite Star Wars characters.
How could you go wrong? Play Star Wars Masters of the Terrascasi, you will find out how it could go wrong. Let's move on to Sony this week. They announced a PSP system software update, version 6.39. Basically, for the PSP, this is going to be similar to what there's already been for the PlayStation 3, having you change your PlayStation Network password, guiding you through the process, and it offers some general stability updates and some improved features. This segues nicely into the other big Sony fingers crossed news, which is that hopefully by next Tuesday, the PSN store will be back up online. And this, like 40 days that this hasn't been available will finally be over.
Teenagers held hostage. Day 40.
It feels like that.
Alone inside my room with no one to play with.
Well, and if you remember last week, the rumor was that they told developers it was going to go up this Tuesday. And, I woke up bright and early this Tuesday hoping to get some of that sweet, sweet L.A. Noire DLC and the exclusive case. And I got the Bozak, essentially, because the PlayStation blog said, contrary to rumors, it's not coming back today. So
that's I'll tell you now how if this was an Xbox thing, I would be going nuts. But because I don't even have a PS3, this is all kind of theoretical to me. Like when I imagine not being able to get on the Xbox network, then I can picture myself getting all wound up and mad. But like, are you like, yeah, whatever? There's plenty of other stuff. But are you totally like, this is ridiculous? Why are we on day 40 of this?
Let me tell you, I was a DC Universe Online addict, essentially, up until the PSN went down. And since it's been back up for the Sony Online games, since it's back up for DC Universe Online, I've played it once, maybe for about 45 minutes, and that was just to get my welcome back bonus of a terrible Batman-inspired mask, for my character in the game. And it's amazing with MMOs because they are such a habit-forming experience that when you're essentially forced to kick the habit, once you get some distance, it's harder to go back, I think.
Well, that's what I was about to ask. Is did that distance, did that being however many weeks cold turkey kind of kill the game for you? Like, do you think you'll ever quite get back into it?
I had the same experience with City of Heroes. When that first launched, I played that hardcore probably for about 6 weeks. I mean, 6 weeks of doing almost nothing else with my free time but playing City of Heroes. And then I went on vacation, came back, and found the same sort of experience where I played it a few times. And this was pre-City of Villains even, Wow. But I think once you go through that hardcore phase, I don't know. I mean, maybe some of the people in the chat room can kind of, talk about their experience with this in terms of, have you had an experience of hardcore playing an MMO, taking a huge break from it, and then coming back successfully to play it as hardcore again? Because it seems to me like people go more in binges.
I know that when you do come back, it's ever quite the same because everything can only be new only once. Now, of course, it's different when you played a bunch of City of Heroes and then you got the chance to do City of Villains. They had new ways of playing, entirely new maps, and a new style of play. So it's like that's all fresh content. Whereas, like, I go back to City of Heroes every so often because it's only $10 to reactivate your account.
Yeah,
It's all kind of just nostalgia. Like, oh, I remember that power. That was the best.
Yeah, it's like relapsing into like a hardcore drug habit. You're like, oh, I remember what this was like. Oh no, but it's probably good that I stopped.
Yeah, actually, and that's the biggest problem with I was trying to figure out why is it that I have such a hard time getting sucked all the way into MMOs, and I think it's with having kids. It's the fact that you can't put the game on pause, or if you do, you directly screw over real people on the other end.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. I love when somebody just takes an extended break during a raid, and sometimes doesn't bother to tell you, or you're just waiting. Everyone's repaired, waiting to go through the boss fight again. Someone's got a deal.
That's the problem. It's like herding cats. I mean, it's the same problem you have when you try to get 8 people all to decide on the same club that you want to go to, or decide on going to the same movie or whatever. It's everyone's just farting around because everybody's waiting. Nothing ever gets done, which I think is part of the reason you got to have some kind of strong leadership or some easy chain of command to make things happen. But meanwhile, it does mess it up because it makes my real life relationships with my family a little rougher because when they're tugging on the shoulder, like, can't, kid, sorry, bug off. Whereas other games, any other games, it's like instant pause and then go.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is a different dynamic. So I think that's been one huge effect of the Sony outages. Of course, now the online play is already back for games like DC Universe Online, but the store, the PSN store, is not. And so there's been a ton of games that have PSN store functionality, be it Portal 2 and activating your PC copy, I believe requires the PS Store. Mortal Kombat 3, originally the online functionality required access to the PSN store. However, they actually removed that feature from the game because they wanted people to get online and playing it as soon as possible. But then there are games like LA Noire and other games with DLC that just hasn't been available. And I think that's definitely been something where, if people knew ahead of time and were hedging their bets, I mean, that would affect for me whether I pre-ordered a game for the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360, because I would know that I wasn't going to be able to get access to those PlayStation 3 pre-order bonuses by getting, with the PSN store down.
Now, what's the online content for LA Noire? Is there any kind of competitive multiplayer?
No, there's no multiplayer, but there is a PS3 exclusive mission that is only available for the PS3. But strangely, it's not on the disc, so you have to enter a code that comes with the game to get that extra content. And then there are also 2 different.
On the disc, you think?
I don't know if it's on the disc and it unlocks. Nobody knows. It's a huge mystery. There are also 2 additional pre-order cases. And to be honest, after finishing the game, I really enjoyed it. I played it for probably 30 hours last week, and then put in a bit more time over the weekend and earlier this week, just going around and unlocking some of the cars that I hadn't gotten before and exploring more of the city of Los Angeles, which is recreated beautifully in the game. But I've been fiending for that additional content because I'm afraid that if I wait too long, I'm going to be onto something else, and I'm not going to want to come back and play it. And I'm afraid of missing out on something that's really, really good.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It'll be interesting, guy. Because I mean, to be honest, if I'm the Rockstar, I'm going to be pretty miffed at PSN and or Sony in general. I'm probably asking for something to make things right. If coincidence with their release, a major part of the game suddenly like, sorry, through our own ineptitude, your content can't get out to your customers who are paying for it. Sorry, it reflects badly on all of us.
I'm sure they're having to make right with a lot of developers and publishers over this because, I mean, what was it? Capcom said they're losing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and they were saying this, a month ago. And think about where we were into the cycle of this outage a month ago. Also, in Sony news, Kotaku's reporting that Sony has said that development on the PlayStation 4 is already underway. No big surprise, but they have said that it is not in their near-term strategy, which is what Kaz Hirai, head of Sony, said recently. So I don't think that's a huge surprise or shock to anyone that the PS4 is being worked on. I'm sure Microsoft is already working on the successor to the Xbox. I think with Nintendo sort of jumping the gun on their Wii successor, the Z3, it's maybe, speeding up the rate at which people are eyeing these next systems. But I think, we're still a ways off before I think Sony or Microsoft release their next generation of systems.
Or even release the announcement of it, or even talk, explicitly about what they plan to do or their strategy. I am shocked. How many years? We're 6 years into Xbox.
It's crazy. We're well beyond. What was it? 5 years on the original Xbox that launched in fall of 2000, or was it 2001?
Yeah. I know it was around that time. I'm going to say 2001.
Yeah, I think it was 2001. No, you know what? They would have been 2000 because that's when PlayStation 2 launched. Also, I think they were both around the same time. I could be totally wrong.
It's 2001 because Halo came out at the same time.
That's right. Okay, so it was 2001 and PlayStation 2 came out in 2000. That's what it was. So we're already 2001 to 2005 was the original Xbox because the 360 came out in 2005, I believe, and. Now we're seeing the cycle get longer and longer in each generation. And I think it's actually kind of interesting. In a way, it's good to where it's making these very powerful systems cheaper and more affordable throughout the system's lifespan. And there's a ton of games and content to play. This isn't like, your 8-bit NES that becomes obsolete when the Super Nintendo comes out, relatively shortly thereafter. The NES gets
that's the problem, right? Is that we are only seeing incremental improvements. We're seeing it's harder. Look at the difference between GoldenEye and I don't know what's 10 years after GoldenEye. GoldenEye was what 93, right?
Yeah,
and then
Perfect Dark.
2003. Yeah. But then look at the difference from a game in 2000 versus 2010, and we are seeing in a world where one of the launch titles for the PS3 talked about the deformable mud in the game, then now you're reaching a point of diminishing returns.
Definitely, and I think that it's hit a wall maybe in terms of what they can do with the system. Because it just seems like games, don't get me wrong, I think 360 games and PlayStation 3 games look really, really good. It's just, I don't know, it's getting to the point where, with the exception of photorealism, it's very hard to sort of think about how much more of an improvement they can make. In the last 10 years, it seems like we've seen a pretty steady increase in terms of the quality of just graphics on PC and console games. But if you compare the last 10 years to the previous 10 years, the previous 10 years was like a quantum leap forward from 1990 to 2000, 2010. I think part of it's just resolution. It's kind of like with special effects. How cutting-edge special effects look really good, and then you go 5-10 years later, and when your eyes are already used to seeing something in a bit higher definition, a bit crisper, a little bit more photorealistic, then the old stuff doesn't look quite so hot anymore.
Right.
And I run into that all the time when I watch old blockbuster movies.
Yeah, there's some certain things, and I'll tell you what, it's always the movies that hold up the longest are the ones that don't get swept up in the novelty of the technology of the moment. It's those ones that are story-driven. For example, THX 1138 was very minimalist. It was all just white backgrounds and stuff, and so it conveyed this feeling of being in the future, but it didn't go out of its way to, James Cameron style, do very state-of-the-art special effects. So as a result, it's aged very gracefully. Same thing, unlike certain scenes in, we'll say, Logan's Run with the chrome robot shouting about seafood, plankton, that thing. But I think that we're going to have to see a flight to novel storytelling and novel gameplay dynamics and novel or not just novel, but like quality storytelling, because we all at this point, when you can have a movie game like LA Noire, that's the guy. That's the when you that is what movies look like when they're so obsessed with the technology of the moment. It doesn't age gracefully, and I want to see games that survive. Like there's some games like what was it? I have no mouth, but I must scream.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's not about the graphics, because it's about the story, and same thing for like your System Shock 2. I think would stand up to this very day because it was about the atmosphere and about the gameplay dynamic. Yeah. And that's what we got to see focused on. And so maybe it'll be a good thing, as annoyed as I am that we're now 6 years into the Xbox 360 and we're not seeing a refresh or a next generation. I'm hoping that it'll cause people to work harder on giving us good software, giving us good games.
Oh, I love this. Master Wabbit in the chat room says, "You kids and your graphics. Back in my days, we had to use pen, paper, and dice to play games."
That's true. That's exactly right. Yeah, that right there. The graphics obviously don't exactly hold up on System Shock 2, but the game, I mean, I remember the first time I played that game when I heard the voice go, silence the Discord. And I was like, what the hell was that, man? It was like, I mean, that game was absolutely terrifying. And I loved the fact that in System Shock 2, the guns would degrade over time. You could only get so many shots before you had to either drop it or repair it.
Speaking of old games, this segues nicely into our next news story. Speaking of sort of blast from the past, but something that has evolved over time, Duke Nukem Forever has finally gone gold. I got a press release on my email the other day. Not sure if you saw the stories, Brian.
I saw the tweet.
I tweeted.
I guess Brian's not a big fat liar.
I didn't call you a liar. I just said I was skeptical. That's all.
Okay. I told you. I had the inside sauce. It is definitely happening.
Well, and why would I be skeptical? I mean, when was the game first announced? 1997? Okay.
I know, but it's finally wrenched out of the hands of the guys over there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, will Duke Nukem hold up now? I mean, how long has it been since the last Duke Nukem game?
It depends. Well, the good news is at this point, we're all familiar with the story, the rise and fall of the great Duke Nukem Forever story, to where our expectations, I think, are pretty low. And I think a lot of people will be like, oh, that was fun. That was fun. But here's what I wonder, is this game has been in development for over a decade. And even if the graphics have been redone, even if the gameplay has been redone, a lot of the plot elements have been written over the course of an entire decade. And I want to see which elements have been super dated. Like they just don't belong.
Is this going to look like a game from 1997? Essentially, with better graphics.
I'm not saying it'll look like the game, but I'm saying like certain references and jokes may have been hilarious back in 1998, but maybe not now. It's like if you hear him make a Ricky Martin reference or something,
No, and to celebrate the release for free for the iOS platform, and I believe Android also, 2K Games has released a Duke Nukem Forever soundboard for free that you can get for your iPhone or Android device. I've got it here. I'll just play a few select clips from the Duke Nukem repertoire. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's not loud. I'll crank my volume there.
So now what I want is the ability to hit these soundboard buttons on crank calls. But unfortunately, iOS doesn't let you do that.
Here we go. Now, as far as dated humor, I don't know. Tell me what you think in terms of...
If you supply the dancing, I'll supply the pole.
I would expect nothing less. That's so if you want more of this Duke Nukem Forever goodness, just feel free to grab the free app of the soundboard for your iPhone or Android device. But I think Master Wabbit in the chat room said that he will believe the game exists when he puts the disc in his PlayStation 3. And for all he knows, it's just, blank discs they're releasing just to troll people and build the expectation further.
And even then, when he finishes the game, he'll be like, I'm not convinced that wasn't a hallucination. I think there may not have actually even been the game at all.
Yeah. Let's move on to two big stories this week about video game movies in development. One is that David O. Russell is off the Uncharted movie. It was announced this week that he's moving on, and I guess a new director hasn't been announced yet, but it's interesting to see that, if the movie does indeed get made. It seems like video game movies get stuck in development hell quite a bit. So
Yeah.
it's not a huge surprise to see a director attached and then drop out. I mean, I think we could probably do an entire show of at the controls. We could probably do an entire show of Frame Rate just devoted to video game movies that never happened, because there have been so many.
And as we talked about before, from the summer movie draft, I had Prince of Persia, and I was bummed to see that it got like such poor reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. And then I was super shocked to find out that it was the second highest positively rated movie based on a video game ever. So it's like I wonder if I don't know. It's very weird for me to get excited about movies based on video games because they're almost universally crap. And some of them make money, some of them don't, but they're always made on a relatively small budget, with the notable exception being like a Prince of Persia type thing. I don't know. I mean, do you like movies based on video games, or do you want your movies to be movies and your games to be games?
Not particularly. I mean, just because I feel like I've just had the enthusiasm beat out of me by the crap that's been released. I think I was really excited about the idea, when the first Super Mario Brothers movie came out. I was at the time.
God. Do you realize I worked in the movie theater when that movie came in? It was the first movie they used to ship movies in canisters with 6 reels in there.
Yeah.
You had to place them together. That was the first movie I built and tore down.
Wow, that's awesome.
Ever. So I got to watch that one a lot.
Yeah, I was excited for that until I saw it, and then I wasn't. And then, over the years, I told myself, oh, hey, it's going to be a Street Fighter movie. Dude, this could be the one. Street Fighter the film, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Remember going to a press conference at Capcom where they had a bunch of the lesser stars of the movie there?
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, this was back like, I guess in 93 or 93. Who'd they have? They had, what's his face? Andrew Bernarski, the guy that played Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboots. Because he played Zangief in the film. They had the guy that played E. Honda. They had the girl that played Chun-Li.
That was the last role.
Raul Julia.
Julia before he died, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I was stoked about the Street Fighter movie because it seemed like, I mean, come on, between Raul Julia, between Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It had all the elements, but that's what we've seen time and time again. Even if you have all the elements.
Written and directed by the guy who wrote Die Hard. How could you screw that up? How?
Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, man. Here's what I'm hoping is that the success of Game of Thrones, by adhering to the source material, the success of your Lord of the Rings, although that, I guess that was long enough ago that they should have figured it out at the time. But it's like, why don't you respect the source material? Because these products were able to do it. They were able to make a metric boatload of money.
Now, I do agree with the chat room that the first Mortal Kombat movie was actually pretty okay. I mean,
yes.
And at the time, it's about what I expected a Mortal Kombat movie to be. I didn't have huge expectations for it, but I agree that it was pretty good. I will say on the subject of the Street Fighter movie, the first one, not The Legend of Chun-Li, which I've heard such terrible things about that it's made me want to watch it just out of a sick curiosity that I have, because I kind of like things that are really bad. I enjoy things that suck with a certain style and class where it takes it up to almost a level of an art form to where, if you and I, Brian, were to sit in a room, someone gave us millions of dollars, we couldn't make a movie that was that horribly bad and embarrassing for all parties involved.
I think you underestimate my ability to suck, sir.
I don't think you could do it intentionally. I don't think it could be done. I think it takes a certain level of just misguided effort sometimes to come up with such just a terrible, terrible film. But no, the first Mortal Kombat was okay. But as the subject of the first Street Fighter movie, if you want to watch something that is almost definitely more entertaining than the film itself, track down the collector's edition DVD that has writer-director Steven D'Souza doing a commentary for the Street Fighter movie, and he talks about this thing like it's his Citizen Kane.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's not like the Joel Schumacher commentary on Batman and Robin, which is 2 hours of him just apologizing essentially and justifying however. No, I bought it for that reason because I heard about this, and the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin, that's worth renting just to hear that, because he explains how it just went so horribly wrong. But the Street Fighter commentary really just tries to, he talks about this like, this was a serious artistic effort, and he feels like he succeeded on many levels. So that's definitely worth checking out if you're just in the mood. And as Forkless points out, what was even worse than the movie was Street Fighter the movie, The Game, which we will have to talk about in a retro segment on an upcoming show, because that was the Street Fighter meets Mortal Kombat game. And all I could say is, on some level, can you really knock a fighting game that features Kylie Minogue? I mean, can you? Because
Yes, you can. And we will repeatedly.
Yeah.
Objection, sir. Of course you can. That's what I say.
So the other movie news, which speaking of that we should get to, is that the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney movie is coming. Apparently, it's going to be released in Japan sometime in 2012, and directed though by Takashi. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing this. Takashi Miike. Is that right?
Yes, as an expert in Japanese, I can absolutely say that you spoke that flawlessly.
And of course, Takashi is the director of a film that I've never actually seen, but some people like, if that's your thing, the film Audition. Now, I've never seen it because just watching the clip of Audition on Bravo's 100 Scariest Movies made me nauseous. And I was just like, this is not for me.
Now, do you know, is it an animated movie or is it live action?
I believe it's live action.
Wow.
So that'll be
know
interesting.
How I feel about that. I guess I'm fine with it because the movie, the game was practically a cartoon. I think there's a lot of potential for it to be really good as long as they are just a little bit tongue in cheek and they capture the things that people love about the. I mean, I never thought that you could make a video game about court cases and have it be so much fun. And so I hope that they take some of that over the toppiness and put it into the movie.
Definitely. And the Phoenix Wright series, I mean, is just fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, Ace Attorney, I believe it's available for download on the Nintendo Wii, and there's also a DS game. I think those are the only platforms it's on.
Yeah, I played it on the DS. That's the only way I experienced it on.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a great game. And for me, it's the closest thing I will ever see to LA Law, the game, Which I would love.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess how similar do you think is? I mean, I didn't play LA Noire, but was it anything? Are there any parallels or similarities between Phoenix Wright and the way LA Noire plays?
It's a bit more adventure game, as we discussed last week. It's essentially $100 million version of Police Quest, which is why I like it. But the interrogation is very Phoenix Wright style. And I found it interesting. In fact, LA Noire, I would say, could probably be developed into a very good cable TV series, because that's really what it feels like to me, what they were going for. It's not quite AMC quality, but I think that in the right hands, the story could be, just fantastically told. Although it is in the game. I think the story in LA Noire is definitely one of the reasons to check it out, even with the gripes that I have with it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was last week's big game. Let's talk about this week's big game that we're looking at, which is Dirt 3. Dirt 3 is available currently on Microsoft Windows, the PlayStation 3, and the Xbox 360, the latest entry in the very popular Dirt series. Overseas, I believe it's still marketed under Colin McRae's name with his license. And, if you like rally car racing, what more can you say? Have you played any of the Dirt titles, Brian?
No, in fact, you said Dirt, and I had to actually click on the link to see what the heck it was. I guess I'll tell you what, man. As far as racing games go, the most fun I've ever had with a racing game was, believe it or not, was it Speed Demons was it the Dreamcast?
Yeah, I remember that.
And the reason I had so much fun with it is because it was a building tweaking game where you made money and spent it on your car, and I did it with my brother. And outside of that, I'm not into the Gran Turismos or any of the racing games in general, except for I love playing it on the iPad too. Was it the Real Racing HD? Is that what it is? Mm-hmm. But only because it's something I could pick up, play for a little bit, and then drop. I just get too frustrated by most sim games when it comes to driving, where you make one bad turn and it's just like throw the controls down.
Well, let me tell you, the Dirt series has the antidote for that, because this is much more of an arcade style rally game. It's got a bit of a freestyle element mixed in with drift racing, doing donuts, essentially bashing stuff. I mean, doing tricks with the car. But like you said, in terms of frustrating making one wrong move, the game has a flashback feature where you can essentially hit the left bumper button, rewind, roll it back, and then start playing again from where you messed up. And it gives you 5 of these per race.
Now, having said all that, I will say that Burnout 3 Takedown might have been the perfect racing game, with the exception that it was at the time, it was before you could load games all the way onto the hard drive. There wasn't room on the Xbox, the original Xbox. And so so as a result, you had to wait for these interminable segments of loading each level over and over again, and I had to reload. But Burnout 3 Takedown was awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what I like about Dirt 3 is, first off, I mean, graphically, and this video footage we have, this is the PC version that I found on YouTube. Somebody recorded. Graphically, I mean, it's a fantastic looking series. These games have always looked really good, and some of the best looking driving and racing games that I've ever played. I love how it looks on the PC. It looks just as good on the Xbox and PlayStation 3. What's interesting also, I'm not sure if the PC version has this, but the features on the Xbox and PlayStation version allow you to upload your replay clips directly to YouTube from the game. And in fact, they mentioned that excessively throughout the game.
Now, what do you think of that? Is that a case where it's like, is that something we're hurting on YouTube, as we don't have enough clips of people playing video games?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like kind of an odd thing to base. I mean, it's like, I almost imagine the meeting at Codemasters went like, listen, guys, we've done our market research, and what we found the kids love is uploading videos of them playing games to YouTube. So I think we could take the series to the next level if we put that feature inside the game. It's like,
I mean, and it probably will be as far as publicity and promotion. I mean, it's an ingenious maneuver on their part. But meanwhile, does it? And to be honest, the nice thing about YouTube is that you go find what you want to see. So it's like you can have 10,000 of these clips, and it's not going to affect my search for cute puppy dog videos that I'm looking for. So it's like, no, it's smart for them, and I'm sure they're beating you over the head with it. But
they do in the dialogue excessively. Like, that was great. Why don't you upload it to YouTube? Just again and again and again.
But like, what? It's not like if this was Burnout, where there was an epic crash and you could just cut out just that awesome 10 seconds.
Yeah, and you can edit your video within the game also. So that option is there also.
Like, what is it that you're going to see? Like, I certainly did take those corners correctly and with a very fast time.
No, and you can go off-road a little bit. I mean, you can have some pretty cool crashes. I mean, not like Burnout level. I mean, it's not as interesting as that. I mean, I would say that now, if you're a hardcore racing fan, I mean, the consensus seems to be that this is one to buy because of the online multiplayer, because a lot of the features that it has, for competitive play. I mean, there's a ton of different tracks in it. If you like rally car racing and sort of the, like Gymkata, which I didn't even know was a real thing until I was playing the game. Wait. I thought that was...
You said what?
I believe it's called Gymkata. Is that right? Did I mispronounce that? With the draft car racing?
No.
What is it called? It's something like that. It's like, and I probably got it wrong, but
no, actually, no. You said it right, but when you said Gymkata, this is what I was thinking.
The martial arts style.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I thought. What?
Hold on, I've got it right here.
Gymkana. It's Gymkana. That's what it is.
Gymkana. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Gymkata. We're actually.
Gymkana. Thank you in the chat room for correcting me.
Gymnastics to kill bad guys.
Now, in my defense, you see how I can make that confusion because I've never forgotten Gymkata my entire life. But Gymkana, a little forgettable. So it's almost got sort of that Tony Hawk quality to it, where there's some courses where they require you to do the tricks within the game. But I don't know. I mean, that's not really my thing as much. I mean, I just like racing and going really fast and getting in some wrecks. Essentially, that's what I'm into. And I also like that it feels realistic, but not so hyper realistic that it's just kind of a bummer to play.
I'll tell you,
you can tune it a little bit though.
I love in racing games are the shortcuts where you could take the high risk maneuver of trying to make a jump and go over something, but you can pay out with a 10-second head start on everyone else by doing that. I love that kind of stuff.
Now, I didn't see that a lot on the courses that I played because I used to like that a lot. I mean, with what was it, like the Cruisin' USA's used to have that. Used to have the shortcut routes.
Yeah.
I used to be really into that.
I think Burnout Paradise had a lot of that as well.
Now, and Jim the Fly in the chat room is pointing out that, yes, there are some amazing Gymkana videos on YouTube of people doing it in real life. And I think in real life, I mean, that's fantastic. If you can maneuver a car that way and do those sorts of tricks and stunts, that's great. I just find it a game. For me, it wasn't as much fun as something like Tony Hawk is. Of doing tricks on a skateboard. And so I think that's just personal preference. So I would say if you have a passive interest in racing games, it's probably one to rent. But if you really like racing games, the consensus seems to be that it's one seriously to consider buying just for the multiplayer features alone and all the different tracks and cars within the game.
That's cool.
But I mean, I had fun with it, and I think it looks really good. But they've always looked really, really good. But that's the one that I spent probably the most time playing this week. That and doing some pickup playing on LA Noire, just driving around. Because even the driving in LA Noire, I mean, I just did.
And I guess it surprises me because for something that's so story driven, I wouldn't think that the mechanic alone would have to be fun to drive around. I
finished the story, so I wanted to go basically explore the different areas of town to see stuff. There's some great threads on some of the LA Noire fan sites that's just like talking about the cool places you found within the game. You know, I mean, there's stuff that it's sort of just almost like urban exploration, essentially in 1947 Los Angeles.
Right.
You know, and
right.
of course, finding the places
totally
where we can do the most stunts, jumps, and just, you know, running over pedestrians. Once you beat the game, that's fun. Definitely fun to play. Let's move on to some multi-platform discussion this week. The first trailer
show it. You want to
from
show
Modern
it.
Warfare 3 leaked on this past Monday. And do we have the trailer? Let's watch this.
Take the most powerful nations on Earth to create the next global conflict. Just the will of a single man.
All right,
pre-order now for Xbox 360.
Now, I will preface this by saying that my favorite Call of Duty game is Call of Duty 2 by a wide margin. I think that's my favorite in the series. I think this looks pretty cool, and I haven't been all that impressed with the Modern Warfare series just because it feels to me like, I don't know, a modern tactical shooter that feels like it's been done much more, you know, in the last 15 years.
All right, well, let me say... Allow me to find myself in defense of Modern Warfare 1. I guess it's weird because it's Call of Duty and it was Call of Duty 4 was Modern Warfare. That Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, I could right now, again, play all the way through the entire thing and love it. It was awesome. The story was super compelling and it had like two very major, very potent plot twists that just punched you right between the legs. I loved it. It was amazing. Modern Warfare 2 was a stupid Michael Bay movie. It was offensive to my intelligence that at no time did I even understand who the bad guys were. And every single level had to have some kind of twist at the end, which again might have been okay if every single twist didn't render completely irrelevant everything you had done up until that moment in the game. And right down to at the end where it's just like, haha, you're dead. What a twist. Oh, no, wait, you're not dead. Tap a button to remove the knife. You're alive. What a twist. Oh, but you've been shot again. Oh, now you killed him with a knife. What a twist. What a twist. What a twist. I've never in my entire life done this on any other game. I finally cranked the difficulty all the way down to easy so I could get the stupid thing over with. The single player campaign was utter crap, and I'm so and it's funny because I was such a major apologist for the franchise because they already were getting hammered because they weren't going to allow servers for multiplayer online.
Yeah.
So as a result, cheating is rampant whenever because there's no referee, there's no trusted place to go, there's no way to boot offensive players or to police everything. And so I was apologizing for all that because I just wanted another awesome single player experience the way I had with the first Modern Warfare. But Modern Warfare was so bad and so terrible to me that I am very guarded about a third installation. I'm going to have to read articles that say what a great story the third chapter is for me to get on. And maybe I will.
Some of the maps look cool. I mean, it looked like New York in there. I mean, it looked like they're doing, you know, some interesting environments. But I don't know. I mean, now, if I had my choice right now of all the Call of Duty games, I'll go online and play Call of Duty 2 with some custom maps, like the Normandy map that people have made. You know, just there's so many great custom maps for Call of Duty 2 on the PC that, I mean, I probably spent 3 years just playing that game here and there, picking it up. Sometimes spending, entire days just going on different servers and playing against people because it was so much fun.
Call of Duty 2 was phenomenal. That's the one that you're in Leningrad and
and it's the Rhine.
Yeah, you play as the Russians, you play as the
German,
Germans,
or the British.
Sorry, the Russians, the British, and the Americans, right? Yeah, no, that was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. And maybe I don't know. Maybe it seems like every other one is good. So the first Call of Duty was okay. Second one was amazing. Third one was that was the first time Treyarch took it over.
Yeah, that was just okay.
It was sort of a phone in. The fourth one was
Modern Warfare.
First Modern Warfare. That was, I thought, amazing. This next one, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that it's got the Star Trek movie curse on it, and every other game is crap, and then the other one is awesome. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. That's one I'm looking forward to playing at E3 and really getting my hands on.
Yeah. Also, there was another trailer.
Yes.
The teaser trailer for StarCraft 2. You played StarCraft 2, right?
Not the hugest StarCraft fan. I mean, I get it, but not as much my thing. But
oh my gosh.
No judgment. No judgment.
No. And let me tell you, it's like I am enjoyed StarCraft 2 so much that I still haven't finished it yet, which sounds ridiculous to say, but it's like I don't want it to be over. So it's like I'm on the last arc of the last mission. One of the things that Blizzard has an amazing knack for doing is making you care, creating compelling characters and compelling narratives in genres that shouldn't have compelling characters or narratives. You would not think a real-time strategy game would be the place for you to fall in love with, with this rebel leader who's caught up in this bizarre conflict. And it's amazing how they could draw people in, and their cinematics are always top-notch, which is why I want to take a look at this teaser trailer right here.
Second week in a row, Brian. You build us up. You build us up for something, and then nothing.
You know what's funny is I saw that it said, oh, wait a minute. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What have we here?
Begin your sweep. Find Kerrigan.
See, I learned my lesson this time. This time I left it pre-buffered over on my computer, so I'd be able to play it no matter what. It's that's actually the first time I saw it, but it's got the same characters from the original StarCraft 2. Not enough for me to really get bent out of shape excited one way or the other, though.
No, I mean, I'll definitely play it when it comes out. I'm just saying that in the past, it's one of the, I feel like everyone sort of picks their series that they get super hardcore about. It seems like I've known a lot of people that were really hardcore about, but for me, it just didn't grab me the same way that I saw it grab other people. But that was also, a complicated time in my life. I had some things going on.
Yeah, wait, you're talking about what, StarCraft 2?
Yeah, StarCraft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that was only 8 months ago. I don't know. All right. Now it's like, now I feel like that's too soon. I can't ask what the drama was 8 months ago. Like, I would ask you what the drama was 8 years ago if you were talking about the original Xbox, but I don't feel comfortable with 8 months ago.
Anyhow, let's move on to Star Wars The Old Republic beta signs up nearly 1.5 million users for its beta test.
Yeah, what was it? Do you remember the news story when? I guess for World of Warcraft, you heard about when they finally crossed over 10 million subscribers. I'm sure they got about 15 million. What are they at now? Like 18 million?
Yeah, I mean it's huge.
And so, but to have this for a game that's not even out, and to take people who normally wouldn't even. I know on the one hand, you've got two schools of thought of like, of course, for an open beta, you're going to have a bazillion signups because it'll be a free way to play the game. But on the other hand, you got a lot. I think the vast majority of people are like, betas are broken and they're annoying, and you're not going to be able to keep any of the achievements or any of the success that you create with the character, right?
Yeah.
So, I think this is pretty big news. 1.5 million people already signing up.
Especially considering the dissatisfaction a lot of people had with Galaxies.
Oh, and in fact, Rebel Duck in the chat room is pointing out that 11.5 million is the number currently playing World of Warcraft. So, like to not even have the game released and to have 10% of all of the population of World of Warcraft already signed up to test the game, I'm going to say that's pretty substantial. I'm going to say that that things are looking pretty good for the launch of Star Wars: The Old Republic.
No, definitely. And
by the way, now's a good time for me to remind everyone that we do have signups to be in the NSFW Guild. That's not safe for Wookiees. On if you go to swtor.com/guilds, I believe. But yeah, definitely check out join. We got a light side and a dark side. The light side's called Diamond Club. Dark side is not safe for Wookiees.
Love that name. Let's see, because we're running along on time. Do we want to skip retro or the wild card face off? We could do wild card face off. We could do that on any other show because there's so much vitriol there.
You know what? This is great though because I guess this is based on the fact that we were talking about Dirt. You wanted to talk about the whole test drive series, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about that this week, and we'll do wild card face off. We'll push that to another show. So let's do.
I remember exactly where I was the first time I played the original test drive on a 286 PC. I was in Norway, believe it or not, at an amusement park, and we lived in Norway for 2 years when I was in 7th and 8th grade. And they had like a collection of like 3 PCs, and the game you could play on there was Test Drive, and I was blown away. It was back when I don't even know that there was a mouse. There was like a dot in the center of the wheel that you had to use the keys to move to the right.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's crazy how. I mean, I just thinking about it. I mean, was that the first? Was Test Drive? Was that the first game to use like licensed cars to have their vehicles based on actual cars?
And that's the question is I don't know whether or not they licensed the cars. They were based on cars, and that was the other thing is the original Test Drive. There wasn't even there. If you asked me at the time, I say, what's the point? You just drive around like it's a driving simulator, and I guess that's the same thing that you get with a flight simulator or whatever. But it like there was no racing. It was just you just drove around. You're like, oh, this is what it's like to drive a Porsche. Well, I feel very fast.
And remember, I mean, it's funny that people actually thought that at the time because I remember that being the hype, you know, around my grade school at the time and around junior high was like, dude, in this game, it's like you're driving a real car. If you go too fast, man, the cop can pull you over. You can like get ticketed, you know. I mean, it was supposed to be like this. I mean, it was the first big driving sim that I remember that was really, really, really popular in terms of the ones that I heard about. And specifically, the second game in the series, Test Drive 2, that came out in '89. That's the one that I remember being huge because that was the one that involved, I believe, the Porsche and the Ferrari, or was it the Porsche and Lamborghini?
Again, did they add the actual racing element then on that?
You know, it's a good question.
Or it's still just a driving simulator?
I think there was always some. I think Test Drive 2 had a racing component to it. I mean, it was a timed race. I don't think there was multiplayer, if I recall correctly.
Wow, look at that. You see the DOS interface there. So I guess now we're looking at Test Drive 2. Rock those 8-bit tunes. That was the whole thing. Is Test Drive 2, it was the cool. That's where it was an actual race.
Yeah, and what were the 2 cars in that? It was
I don't know, I'm seeing a Ferrari and I'm seeing a Porsche. I'm seeing Lotus.
Yeah. The Countach. Man, I remember this was one of those grade school things. Or I guess for me it would have been 6th or 7th grade. But where it was like, oh man, it's crazy all the cars you can drive. It's like driving the real. And it's funny that appeal around the time when video games got really good. When you look at the Gran Turismo series and you look at some of the later Need for Speed stuff where I think it was perfected, sort of the idea of like realistic cars. It's weird how that's not a huge draw anymore. You know, you don't hear people talking about that as much.
About realism in general. Yeah. Well, I think, like we said, we're getting to the era of diminishing returns on here. Wow, those graphics. There's the little dot. You can see the little dot on the steering wheel there.
Oh, man. This takes me back to, because I remember that my computer couldn't play this successfully. I had to go to a friend's house who had a PC that could play this game because my 386 just had issues playing this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was able to play this on my 286 barely, maybe. I seem to remember that I got it off of a BBS back in the day.
Now, the thing is, and I had forgotten this, is that, you know, the Test Drive series still exists. published by Atari. And it's weird because there were some gaps in the series release, but I was surprised when I looked up that Test Drive Unlimited 2 actually just came out this year. But I don't remember hearing a lot about that when it came out.
Well, I think it's one of those. It's reached that kind of Microsoft Flight Simulator status where it keeps happening, and there's the people who are obsessed with realism and the simulation. I mean, those sim people they're insane, man.
Yeah,
like,
people that are hardcore about it.
Thousands of dollars just to have what looks like or what feels like a real cockpit next to you to fly around in.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it definitely was one of those things, though, that at the time, I mean, this series was so cutting edge when it first came out, and it was such a huge title. And it's weird how.
Keep in mind also, we talked about the difference that there are diminishing returns over time as the technology gets better, but and we talked about the importance of there being a compelling story or a novel gameplay element to it. But if your whole goal is to be a simulation, as it is with the Test Drive series or a flight simulator, all you can do is keep making the graphics better and keep making the details more exactly correct, right?
And you could tune the controls a little bit. I mean,
but again, you could only tune them in one direction. You could only tune them not to be more fun, but to be more correct.
You know, now I'll say this, you know, not to go back to my favorite topic of the last 2 weeks of LA Noire, but I did get a kick out of driving all those 1940s automobiles. Like the the Tucker Torpedo is in there as one of the hidden cars. You know, I mean, I would actually like to see a driving game that went way back with that, because imagine a test drive game where you're driving, you know, cars from the 40s. You're driving a Rambler.
You know what? That would be awesome, and especially if, like, you know, and it's like you earned money, but you earned like $50 for a prize race, and you were able to buy an all-new engine with that $50 or something. Like, adjust for inflation and everything, and you had to wear the goggles and all that stuff.
Because we've seen muscle cars in games. I mean, we've seen, you know, that done to death with the Chargers, the Mustangs, the stuff like that. But not going way back. I mean, to the like the 40s, the 30s. I think it's an interesting idea, but I think for you know, definitely keeping with the theme of dirt, definitely makes Test Drive, you know, our retro game of the week that we're looking at. And yes, as we pointed out, the series still exists with Test Drive Unlimited. So it's kind of just amazing just to see the evolution of the series, I think.
Dude, real quick, just show Test Drive 3, man. Those sweet VGA graphics. Taking it to the next level right there.
Is that 256 colors? Damn.
That's right, bro. that's virtual photorealism. This is cartoons as well. That's an ad-lib card in there.
Look at that, man. That's like a GIF file.
Yeah.
That's polygons, man. This is some cutting edge stuff. That's like some wavetable synthesis with the MIDI there.
You remember the days when it's like you did not mind dithering in graphics at all?
Oh, God, yeah.
Hopefully that was awesome. That just then it's more realistic.
I'm just seeing great stuff in the chat room by there. I love that Captain Kipper Mitch talks about the Epic's Olympic Games being joystick killers. I feel like in this retro segment, I feel like we have so much to cover and talk about each week that we could just do an entire retro show. I mean, there is so much to cover in terms of these great old games. So, and if you're wondering why we're not talking about certain older games, I think we're going to save some as we get a little further along in this, because obviously while we're still in the beta period where, you know, think about some stuff we can loosely talk about, but there are some games, man, like I could probably do half a show just on California games alone.
Oh my gosh, yeah! For the I had that on the Epic's Lynx.
Yeah, the Atari Lynx. That was the only good game on the Atari Lynx.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I sold a bunch of Todd McFarlane original Hulk comics in order to like, just as Todd McFarlane was exploding because he was on Spider-Man at the time, and bought an Atari Lynx, and both of them went down in value.
Nice. Speaking of retro, let's move on to our Of the Week segment, where each week we're going to feature something, whether it's a kill shot of the week, a viral video of the week, something that you send in. And you could send in if you have any interesting video captures from games that you play, or if you find anything interesting on the internet that you think is an interesting glitch, kill shot, win or fail, or just a great gaming themed viral video. You can send that in to twitgameshow@gmail.com, and we will be featuring the best ones on the show each week. This one I found through Reddit, actually, and I thought was fantastic. It is an 8-bit video game themed parody of the Van Halen classic Right Now. And if we have it queued up, we should watch some of this.
have to pause the other one for a second.
Bandwidth. Curse you, YouTube.
We're waiting. Is working? Okay.
And waiting.
Is it buffering still?
There it goes. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can't. While we're waiting on it. Oh, you got it.
That's the one I love right there.
And that's true.
Could fade it down there. Never mind.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, the power glove. Here, I'll post a link on my Twitter if you want to see the whole video.
Oh, you want the good news or the bad news?
What's that?
The bad news is that is not at all.
That's not the one you were thinking of?
Video that I was referencing earlier. But the good news is I have it queued up over here, and as soon as we're wrapped up, I'll show it to you.
Cool. So if you want to see that video, check out my Twitter, twitter.com/Glenn Rubenstein. And just posted a link right there to the whole video on YouTube. But no, I saw that this week, and I just love that because it had so many things that just hit upon my upbringing with video games. And definitely, I can always go for a good parody of the Van Halen right Now video, even if the song makes me think of Crystal Pepsi.
Crystal Pepsi, yeah, of course. Crystal Gravy.
Yes. You want to play the video you had, Brian?
Yeah, no, this is amazing. This is see how many of the references you can catch in here to which video games. And here's the other thing is in true parody form, they don't exactly play they're riffing on all these games. So it's like you got to be able to see that they're synthesizing it and doing it a different way. Here we go.
Sheriff's got your we are drawn. We come together, no matter the weather. We gonna love each other till the end of time. Whoa, till the end of time. Whoa, we come together, no matter the weather. We gonna love each other till the end of time. Whoa, till the end of time. Whoa, we gonna rock it till the morning till we don't stop it. Yeah. We come together, no matter the weather. We gonna love each other till the end of time. Whoa, till the end of time. Whoa, we gonna rock it up into the morning till we don't stop it. Yeah, we come together, no matter the weather. We gonna love each other till the end of time. Whoa, we gonna rock the party automatic. We gonna get lucky. Yeah, we gonna rock it up into the morning till we don't stop it. Yeah, we come together, no matter the weather. We gonna love each other till the end of time. Whoa, till the end of time. Whoa, till the end of
So here's what's amazing to me is like that is probably the I don't know 8th time I've watched it, and I noticed still more new stuff. For example, when he's getting ready to fight this big bad guy here, if you watch when they program in the maneuver on there, they like for example, hold on, you're about to see it right here. Wait for it. When first of all, the final boss is Garfield, which kind of has me, I think is hilarious. But here we go. Like right there is the that's the
Fireball?
not the Hadouken. That's the fireball, yeah. But it's like just so many little things that that are so you know. And then at the end, when you beat them, it says a winner is you. And from the the Nintendo, was it Pro Wrestling? Is that what that was from?
Which one? The rescue
there is
screen. That looks like the end of Mario Brothers or Super Mario.
No. But that phrase, a
Oh
winner
yeah,
is
yeah.
comes
Pro
from the
wrestling, yeah, for the 8-bit.
Pro wrestling, right? And then what else? Like and then some of the maneuvers. Like you could tell, here we go. Like this right here, you could tell is a reference to Street Fighter 2 Blanca.
Yeah, upper.
When there we go, right there. It's like I loved it, man. And
Nice.
the song's not bad either. But it's like I mean, this whole thing just is so dense. There's the Excite Bike and Bubble Bobble, and of course Angry Birds.
That's cool. And I'm glad we both found totally separate videos for this week, though,
there's
too.
no shortage of this kind of thing out there. I think we'll be able to
Yeah,
show
definitely.
a lot. There's Chun-Li's. No, that was E Honda there. That wasn't Chun-Li. E Honda doing the fast fists. That's insane.
Nice.
Duck Hunt.
Oh man.
Hey, all right. So, what's the game plan for getting ready for E3? Do we want to go in with an agenda or just see where the winds take us once we get there?
You know, I've been wondering about that. I mean, it seems like Nintendo, I know, is the big one that we're scheduling as far as the coverage live of the press conference, which you'll be able to hear right here on TWiT when it happens, I believe, starting at 9 a.m., I want to say, on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, right?
Not this coming Tuesday, a week from this Tuesday. So
Right,
that would be
right.
The first day, or no, pardon me. Yeah, it is Tuesday. So that'll be on Tuesday the 7th. Here on TWiT, we'll have that morning live coverage of the Nintendo press conference. I know we're trying to set up some specific Nintendo hands-on time. Have you made any appointments yet for the show, Brian? Or
I haven't made a point. I know Lynn was trying to get us into get me into the the Nintendo press release.
yeah, Leo and I have that, I think, so far, but she's
Right.
trying to get everyone else.
Yeah, she seemed optimistic about it, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's like I know what I'm excited about, and in fact, you know, that's part of why I'm making sure to stay an extra day so I could just go and do all the stuff that I'm interested in. You know?
Yeah, definitely, and that's the thing. I think Wednesday I've got some stuff set up just for basic playtime, but I know Tuesday we're going to be streaming live from the show floor. So you're going to be able to hear that here on TWiT on Tuesday, June 8th, live from E3. We're going to have intermittent coverage throughout the day. And then I know Brian and I are both going to be there an extra day, and we'll have our impressions on the following Friday here on At the Controls, that Friday afternoon on TWiT. And I guess next week will be our E3 preview show.
Yeah, and so I guess maybe what we should do is we should have each of us, as we go through everything, kind of have our own little hype meter, figure out which are the games we're most excited about or the announcements that we're most interested in. It should be a speculation palooza is what we should call it, where we just make what's going to happen. We could make predictions and place bets on who's closest to being right.
Although it seems like a lot of stuff's already been confirmed. So I'm looking forward next week. We'll have some pretty good lists. And then we can also talk about our sort of wild hopes and dreams for what we would see at the show. I know for me, I've got my fingers crossed that Rockstar's going to announce Bully 2. That's secretly what I'm hoping for.
I never played Bully. Was it as good as it looked?
If you like teen movies and you like sandbox games, it's worth checking out. It's on the PC. It's on the 360. It's on the PlayStation 2. Old school.
Yeah. Wow. Old school. In fact, you know what I just did? I was bummed because my PlayStation 2 is finally all the way out in the garage, and I have no intention of ever hooking it back up. But meanwhile, my daughter, I showed her this video, and she was just like, "Hey, that's Katamari Damacy. Dad, we should totally play Katamari Damacy." And I was like, well, the PS2's out. And so I went online and I was able to buy beautiful Katamari for the Xbox 360 and download it. It was 2 gigabytes and only... I say only $20 is pretty expensive for a title that old, but it was awesome because I was able to make my daughter happy, and we spent a whole afternoon playing beautiful Katamari on the Xbox 360.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say if Bully for the PC, you should probably pick up. You can get it for very cheap. It's definitely out there. And the PC version's great. I played that with the gamepad and felt like it was superior, actually, to the console experience.
Wait, you're talking about Katamari?
I'm talking about Bully. Talking about Bully.
Oh, Bully. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Have you seen that website that'll take it's a JavaScript engine that'll take any website and make it Katamari domiciliable? Have you ever seen this?
That's awesome.
Hold on. Let me do JavaScript Katamari web page. Katamari hack. Here we go. Yes. Okay. So here's what I'm doing right now. It's this JavaScript text.
Mm-hmm.
So you copy it, and then you. So let's go to, for example, here's this right here. This is the. Actually, let me get a big full size thing here. I'll just grab all this area here. There we go. So now we got the whole page here, and then if do I just post it in there? There you go. So it gives you background music. Heck yeah, I want background music. There we go. So there's the ball. All right, now let's go to the TWiT.tv page. Works really well. So there's TWiT.tv,
nice.
And then you just paste the code into the bar, and then you hit. There we go. Come on, get it. Go. Go. Yeah!
Nice.
I will do this for hours. I
I'm
need
sure.
to stop right now.
No, I love stuff like that. You know what I've been really into? Strangely, my wife and I are huge Sanrio fans, and so we downloaded a lot of the subtitled anime of the My Melody series. And if you watch that, it's just so upbeat and perky with the music and whatnot. It's just adorable as all get out.
What is it again? Say it again.
My Melody. Sanrio. It's like Hello Kitty. It's the rabbit with the hat, with the red hat. But I love stuff. I love that style, and I love the upbeat music. Love the anime style. That's fantastic.
So apparently it's cathack.com, KATHACK.com.
Nice.
Hey, real quick, are you excited about, and have you seen the footage of Hawken? I played some earlier. Did you see that?
I saw some of it. That looked really good.
It reminds me of the thought I had after and I mentioned this when I said it on the PC Gamer podcast. It reminded me of Wired did a thing on Hellboy 2 development, and how Guillermo del Toro had written up these notes saying there's in the whole movie there's only to be one thing in red, and that's to be Hellboy, and he will be right in the whole movie. And he said also there will be no kung fu at all, except for one person could use martial arts. Everything else needs to be slow and feel the impact every time it hits. You know, it's supposed to be a slugfest, and that's what this reminds me of. If you look at the color palette of it, if you look at the way, let me mute this, but it's like everything feels big in a way that they didn't. I don't think they quite nailed with Shogo Mobile Armor Division. But it's like even if the mechanics are just Team Fortress 2 or with a tower defense element, but even if that's all it is, but just in this grand scale thing, I'm so down for that, man. I am so excited for this game, and this is an independent development too. This is a small team
that looks great for an indie game.
Yeah. I mean, it looks great, kind of period. But then it's like you hear, by the way, that's this was made for $20 at a taco.
No, that's awesome. And it's a mech game.
Yeah, I mean, apparently,
that's
evidently cool. From what I'm seeing here, but it looks like there's certain, I don't want to say tower defense, but it's like you could build sentries.
It's been a while.
I love the sound design on it is excellent as well. Where it's like stuff sounds far away while the guns are firing, and then
it's been a while since like the last great mech game.
Yeah, what was the last great mech
Mech
game?
Warrior? Mech Warrior
2 was really good.
Yeah. But I remember, I don't know, I've loved mech games. Remember Virtual World? Did you ever check that out when it existed,
No.
Brian? It's like you went to a center, like laser tag, and you essentially played in these pods, playing like a Mech Warrior style battle, essentially. But it was location based.
Wait, are you talking about like they had them at the mall?
No, well, I'm not sure if they had Virtual World. They had one in Walnut Creek, California, and they had one in Chicago. And I remember playing it a couple times, and it was essentially like you went there, you paid like $10, and you got to like play mech combat. It was like essentially a glorified LAN party, but in the mid-90s.
All right, so I got one that'll blow your brains out.
Yeah.
Do you remember the demo scene back in the day?
Yes.
And Future Crew's Second Reality? Do you remember that?
Not that one specifically, but I remember the demo scene fondly.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. Let me it's lagging out because of YouTube here. But it's like this is okay, first presented at Assembly 93. And of course, for people who don't know, before like what would the modern day equivalent be to the demo scene? Because it used to be, number one, it was a demonstration of how badass you could be at coding something clever. But it was also a demonstration of your increased computing capacity, because it would show it in a very visual way to do all the calculations to pull off these cool these were the things that when you upgraded your, I guess it would be the equivalent of
it was like the evolution of mods back in the Amiga.
Future Mark, right?
Yeah.
Or 3D Mark. In fact, wasn't 3D Mark and Future Mark populated by a bunch of people who did the demo scene back in the day?
Originally, I believe.
Yeah. Anyway, so let me jump it ahead here. You gotta. By the way, we are 1 minute and 16 seconds into the demo, and nothing has happened yet.
Well, it's good that it builds anticipation,
right?
Yeah.
And then you had this one moment. Like the demo really started here. And then it's the music that I really remember. Wait for it. Wait for it. Your brain's about to explode. What? Computers. Technology. It is the future. I mean, I kid you not, Glenn. It's like I watched this thing dozens of times when I upgraded to a 486. And Yeah. I mean, it was so impressed.
Well, I remember on the Amiga, they had really big, maybe it was on the PC a little bit, the mod scene, like the .mod files that was essentially with the sound samples. So it would give you like the little, animated series going on with kind of similar effects, but then also like CNC Music Factory's Everybody Dance Now, using like 8-bit sound samples, like an AIFF format.
For the life of me, I can't remember if it was with you or somebody else. I found I still have all my old mods. I still have them. In fact, so that was not with you?
No.
All right, let me.
I was a huge fan of those back in the day.
Yeah, no, let me do. I had a Pro Audio Spectrum, the first 16-bit sound card.
Yes, I remember that.
It came with a bunch of. There we go. It came with a bunch of mods, and then I got a Gravis Ultrasound.
Yes, with the wavetable synthesis.
Yes, wavetable synthesis.
Oh, I remember. They were a sponsor of On Computers when Leo and I used to do that.
Get out of town. That's amazing, man. Okay, so let me find my... There we go. Got to go to Brian. My documents. I still have...
I love what our show degenerates into every week. I love how we start off with Typeform, and by the end, it's just... No, it's fine. By the end, it's just,
Where is... sound? My music? Dang it. Hang on one second. I'm looking for... Did you ever play the game Star Control 2?
Yes.
How great. In fact, actually, I have an entire folder of just all the mods for that.
Wow.
Oops. Like, this stuff was so cutting edge at the time.
Oh, definitely.
Let me do open the folder. Oh. For some reason, I can't quite find...
While you're looking for that, I wanted to read, we got one piece of your mail today that I liked, that Tubby from the chat room suggested for the show name, GameFAP, have it stand for Game for All Players. And I think that will be a segment. I think that's what we should call our multi-platform segment, GameFAP. Because that's perfect.
You're comfortable with it, I am, dude.
Because it's multi-platform. Game for all players.
Sure. There's no second meaning for that phrase.
Or games
that's
fap.
Great. The second meaning wouldn't be bizarrely appropriate for us either.
I think for the show name, I think most of us are warming to At the Controls. I know you're still not a huge fan of it.
No, actually, I am. I can get down with that. Although, yes, absolutely.
I looked for Master Control because I liked your suggestion with that, but that is taken, unfortunately.
Mission Control.
Yeah, no one's ever used that before.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There it is, right there. Wait, let me pause. This is the fight from Star Control 2. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then, man, I can't believe how many of these I have. There was one that was, I don't know. I'm just gonna descend into listening to crap music. That's the soundtrack to Fletch with the main theme. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that. You know, at my wedding, we played that Stephanie Mills song from Fletch, Bit by Bit.
No way!
Yeah.
Bit by bits, one way to another.
I also watched 2 episodes of Kids Incorporated where they covered that on 2 separate occasions.
That's awesome.
That song was huge back in the day. My wife rused the day I got Kids Incorporated season 1 on some underground sources and on YouTube.
Oh my gosh. This is a techno remix of Gilligan's Island. And then, but the ones that were really amazing are the ones that worked so hard to simulate like a real song that was on the radio. So it's like
well, that was what the mod scene was really about for me, was stuff where we use the sound samples.
Yes, exactly, like this right here. Well,
it's missing some notes, it seems.
That sounds like it's not playing correctly. Well, let me see if it works any better on this. Here we go. so crazy, man. But like the one that I was most impressed by, because it would do like pitch bending and stuff,
Yeah.
was this one just called it. This one came with the Gravis ultrasound, like on the floppy disk that came with it. Man, back in the day,
It was cutting edge.
Nostalgic about this all day long, dude.
Yeah,
That was
totally, totally. But along those lines of earlier talking about segment suggestions, if you have something, a suggestion for the show, feedback, an idea, a video, or just something you think we should talk about, send an email to twitgameshow@gmail.com. And each week, perhaps if you have a somewhat suggestive title for a segment on At the Controls, send that in.
Yes.
Yeah, push the boundaries. Cool. So we're about ready to wrap this up. Do we have, I guess we can go out with the intro music again?
Yeah.
I'll get to some actual outro music for next week. Okay, well, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Brian, you want some words to wrap it up?
No, man, I just want to hear you rap, bro.
So until next time, this is Glenn Rubenstein reminding you that games can be a powerful force. Sometimes they can take a hold of your life, take you away from your friends and loved ones, but you're always doing okay as long as you remain at the controls. See you next week.
That was good, but you didn't rhyme. You got to rhyme. It's called rapping. That was good freestyle, though. That was slam.
No. Well, I figure my idea for the outro will be sort of tying it up some way with dropping in At the Controls rather than just going with the simple, until next time, we'll see you at the controls.